Hello everyone, I'm Mike Feinberg with The Fighting News and welcome to TFN Profile. This is our first official episode of TFN Profile. On the show, we're going to be profiling and getting up and close with many fighters, many storied fighters, whether it be professional boxers, UFC fighters, veteran fighters, even bare knuckle fighters. Tonight, we've got a special guest for you. He's the newly crowned BKFC Lightweight Champion of the world, and he is Dat Nguyen. Dat, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being here. You know, it's an honor to have you guys here.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure to be here. Always love coming out here. You know that.
Yes, thank you.
We are here at the, what's like a makeshift gym that he set up in the back of Miss Saigon out here in Vero Beach. Some of the best food I've ever had. So I'm looking forward to ending this interview so we can actually go out there and start eating.
Yes.
Starving. So what we're going to do is, obviously you have a lot of interviews that have gone on, I'm sure, in the last week, and you'll have plenty more, rightly so.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is we're going to go back. I want to kind of get to know a little bit more of you, your history, and how you got to be where you are today.
Yes.
So I know, first of all, which is a really big feat, in my opinion, that you're the first Vietnamese-born boxer, fighter, bare knuckle champion, really, of any combat sport to ever hold a world championship.
Yes.
And that is a great feat, no matter what sport you root for. So congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you so much. Like I said, I strive for 20-something years in combat sports, and now I can call myself a world champion. Like I said, it's such an honor to be a world champion. Yeah.
Right, I'm sure it is.
Yes.
So we are going to go back. So talking about the Vietnamese history. So born in Vietnam, tell us a little bit about where in Vietnam you were born and what it was like. I know you were born in the 80s.
Yes.
So it was post-war era time.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the state of the country? What was it like?
Well, for me to grow up in Vietnam, I grew up in the countryside. I don't live in the skyscraper where Saigon. Saigon is the most concentrated. I live about maybe in Binh Hoa. Binh Hoa is a suburb of Saigon, but in the countryside. And in Vietnam, it's not required. I mean, it's probably required certainly, but I didn't go to school. I was 8 years old. The government doesn't say you have to be in school. It's unlike America. So I never went to school. I just did what I had to do. We went hunting. We went. Rich people. We were poor. We do whatever we do to survive. My mom had to work and sell stuff on the market to survive. So I see the struggle that my mom went through. So when we had the opportunity to come to America, it's like a dream come true because everybody wanted to come to America. Everybody in Vietnam wants to come to America, the land of opportunity. And when we had that opportunity, I knew it was a life-changing experience for me. And I put all my hope and goal into, coming to America and achieve something of myself.
Right.
Yes.
How did you get that opportunity? How did your family get the opportunity to come?
My mom, she during the war, she was very young. And she, did help the South side. So, she was put in concentration camp and etc. And same with my dad. My dad was on the South side, and anybody that had any relationship with the American during the war would be put in concentration camp. So in early 1990, I think the American passed a law where anybody that has any relationship with the United States government can come to America with that purpose. So my mom was there, so she applied for the paperwork, and we were approved to come to America as an immigrant.
Okay.
And so we applied for like a year or two, and then we got accepted by the United States government. We went to the process, and we flew from Vietnam to the Philippines. We stayed there for 6 months, and then from there we had to go to school and be educated. So that was the first time that I went to school, and I had a Filipino teacher that was teaching me English. So and then I came to America, and we actually settled in Oregon, Portland, Oregon, because that was our sponsor. That was our family from my mom's side. They sponsored us to be in Oregon, and but the weather was so cold. We were there for only for a few months, and it was winter, and so we wasn't used to the winter. And one of my mom's friend asked her, "Why don't you move to Hawaii? The weather is like Vietnam." So we moved from Portland, Oregon to Hawaii, and we've just been there ever since.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And you said you were about 8 years old then when you
Yeah.
moved. Okay.
Yeah.
So then at that point you got to Hawaii and you began going to school.
Yes.
Brand new experience for you.
Yeah.
So did you have to start out in kindergarten in the beginning and learn?
You know, like I said, I for my age, I was 8 years old. I remember, I think I started third grade or something like that. But you know, I didn't understand a word of English. You know, they put me in this and with a whole bunch of other kids, and I didn't speak no English, so I thought I was deaf. You know, but afterwards, I started to pick up. You know, I know that I need to learn English, and I slowly, you know, absorbed the language and became very proficient with it, and I caught it really well. You know, and so I from fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, then you know I caught on as I got better understanding of English, and I was really good at math, and so you know once I caught on with the English, you know I was the most in my whole the struggle was that my whole family nobody speak English, so when I was stuck with a problem in school with a homework, nobody could help me,
Right.
you know, so once I caught on, you know I had to learn how to you know do everything myself.
Right.
Yeah, and once I caught on, it taught me to be you know independent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you eventually caught up with everybody else and graduated with no problem.
Yes, I mean like I said, once I caught on I think by sixth grade, seventh grade, I you know I was very proficient with English, and I still speak Vietnamese at home, but you know I was as fluent in English, and I caught on. I was really good at math, and I love science and math, and so I caught on really well and graduated with honor rolls, you know, from high school. And then, you know, you had to decide if you want to go, what you want to do after high school. So I chose to go to the military to serve the country. But you know, like I said, I enlisted for the Marines. I took the ASVAB test, scored almost a perfect on it, and I don't know what force I would have either joined the Air Force. Everybody tell me to join the Air Force. This is the easiest, but me, I wanted the toughest part branch out there. So they said if you want the toughest one, you want to join the Marines. You know, and like I said, the Marines is the hardest core, the toughest one. But like, with my ASVAB score, I could qualify for any job in the military. But when I chose the branch of the Marines, you know, because I always watch movies like Rambo and stuff, you know.
Right.
So I was like, I want to be, you know, in the Marines. But you know, like I said, I was shipped out, sworn in, ready, shipped out to the military, and I got a scholarship for boxing because I was competing in boxing, you know, in high school.
Okay.
And I was a junior Olympic bronze medalist, you know, 1999 junior Olympic bronze medalist, and I got a scholarship for the Olympic Training Center. And they said that, you know, if you wanted to join the boxing scholarship to qualify to make the Olympic team, you can go to Northern Michigan University and they will provide my schooling, my tuition, and everything. And so I showed the letter to my recruiter. And so, you know, I didn't think I was going to be able to, you know, leave once I sworn in. My recruiter said, you know what, I'm going to let you go. You can go on and take that scholarship.
How about that?
You know, so, you know, everything happened for a reason. You know, God has a plan for everything.
Right.
So I'm here today.
How about that? That really is something.
Yeah.
To be sworn in, actually be in the military, and then be released because of a college scholarship. That's or I'm not a scholar, you know, scholarship all the same.
Yes.
But that's something. That's what I was going to ask you about is when the boxing started. So obviously you were doing really well already in high school with boxing. So did it begin in middle school or did it begin in high school?
I started in middle school. You know, I think it was like 7th, 8th grade. I started boxing because my brother was a kickboxer. You know, his friend was into kickboxing, and you know, in Hawaii, you know, kickboxing was very huge before the UFC, and there's a lot of Asian there. So kickboxing and street fighting was very huge. My brother was you know, was trained by the same coach I was trained at, Chef McKee from Maui, Hawaii, and you know, my brother became a champion, the IKF champion in Hawaii. You know, internet. You know, the IKF champion is the biggest sanctioning body for kickboxing.
Okay.
And my brother became a champion in Hawaii, and I saw him on TV, and I want to go and join him, you know, in the martial arts. And so I showed up. I will follow him. He didn't want me to follow him. He's like, you know, you stay home. So I went and follow on, and I see my brother, and the coach, you know, loves me, and he picks out. He's like, you know, maybe we can help this kid. You know, I was like a really tough kid, you know, like I would take nothing from nobody. If anybody tell me anything, I would just talk back to them, you know. But you know, martial art taught me how to be disciplined and to be a better individual.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that I know that everybody watching this right now is probably hearing the noise going on in the background. So as I mentioned, you know, we're in that makeshift gym in the back of the restaurant. What's going on inside the restaurant now is a party to celebrate the championship that you won. And the noise you just heard was because they were watching your fight just now, and they just heard the decision when you just won. So they're all cheering the fact that you won that decision. So I'm sure they're all looking for you right now so they can give you a big hug. But, you know, you're hiding back here with us. So they'll have to wait just a little longer. But no, so that's great. So then that's how boxing began for you. I mean, you started with the kickboxing and you followed into the gym.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, when did you actually start your amateur boxing career?
Well, what happened is, you know, in kickboxing in Hawaii, there was no sanction in the body. We will fight like pros. We will fight with 8-ounce gloves, no headgear, no shin pad. And I would travel inter-island. I would go from Big Island to Oahu, you know, Honolulu, and the Pomoto Bay, because we would fill up the whole crowd. You know, we fight anybody that was in front of us. You know, the weight class didn't matter much. You know, maybe 10 pounds difference wasn't matter to us. I was like 14, 15 years old. I'm fighting an 18-year-old man. You know, with like professional level. But we didn't get paid. You know, we fought for trophy.
Right.
Yeah. So and then that was the early day in Hawaii, and then for me to stay busy, I had to compete in boxing. Because those shows would only happen every 3 months or 4 months, you know.
Right.
And then so my coach is like, you want to do boxing too, because you can win medals and go to the state Junior Olympics. So I was like, yes, coach. So coach put me in the Junior Olympics. I won Junior Olympic in Hawaii, Golden Glove in Hawaii, and then that's how it advanced me to the higher level and going to national.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then when did the pro career begin?
Well, what happened is I got the scholarship for the Olympic Training Center. And I went to Northern Michigan University, so I became one of the elite boxers in the United States. I was ranked number 2 at that time in 2003. 2002, I was runner-up at the National Golden Glove. So I lost to Mickey Bay. Mickey Bay made the 2004 Olympic, and he became the IBF World Champion. Right. So in that fight, I fought him in the final at the National Golden Glove. And then in the U.S. Championship in 2003, I fought him again, and then I fought a couple other guys. You know, so I was a bronze medalist, you know. Right. Even though I think I won those fights, you know, the judges will always never score for me.
Yeah.
You know, so after 2004, there was only one guy per weight class. So I competed at 125 for the Olympics. And Mickey Bay became the Olympian.
Okay.
And, so I have to wait another 4 years to make the 2008 Olympics. So I said, why don't I turn professional? And that's what I did. I turned professional in 2004.
Okay. So it began, so your professional boxing career began while you were still living in Hawaii.
No, actually, I was living in Michigan then, and I met a friend. You know, my roommate in college was Travis Kaufman.
Okay.
And so Marshall Kaufman had Kermit Cintron. So we became friends, and he's like, if you ever want to turn pro, I'll pick you right up. So I contacted him and I said I wanted to go pro, and he took me under his wing. And he got me my first 3 professional fights. Okay. So I thank him for turning me pro there,
Okay. And did those fights actually happen in Michigan, or were you kind of spread out?
My first fight was in Atlantic City. I fought on Kermit Cintron's undercard. He was the main event on ABC, and I was the co-feature fight on there. And my fight was televised on ABC.
Okay.
Actually, it was on NBC Sports.
Okay.
And I knocked the guy out, Ernest Scott, in 1 minute and 30 seconds of the first round. Like I said, I trained so hard to make my pro debut. And the second fight, I fought under the Arturo Gotti's undercard. Arturo Gotti, who fought Duran for defending his belt, Atlantic City, too. So I fought both of my fights in Atlantic City.
And then what eventually brought you to Florida?
Well, after my third fight, Marshall wanted me to sign a contract with him, and there was a lot of things going on with my life that I wasn't sure what I wanted to, because I wanted to find the right people to help me manage my boxing career, and I just never find the right person. So I had a friend. I was in Pennsylvania at that time, living and trying to be a professional boxer. And Marshall Kaufman sent me down here to spar with Arturo Gatti to Vero Beach, Florida, because Arturo Gatti was signed with Main Event, and Marshall Kaufman has Kermit Cintron to sign with Main Event, so they were connected. So Atur needed a smaller guy like my side because he's fighting just the same Leha.
Okay.
So I came down here, sparred Atur Gadi for 5 weeks. I did really well against him, very fast. I was a 3-0 fighter, and that's when I met Bertie McGirt.
Right.
Bertie's like, wow, he saw a lot of talent in me, and I didn't have a manager, didn't have anything. So, but Buddy kind of picked me up under his wing, and then I met my 2 manager that lives down here, and they provide me a place to stay. So I moved from Pennsylvania down here, and settled here,
Right.
and started my second chapter of my career.
And then eventually, I know you had a lot of long layoffs,
Yeah.
a few of them really in your career. And but during that long layoff, you fought guys to the level of like Jason Velez and guys of that caliber,
Right.
before you finally got the opportunity that we all know about,
Yeah.
which is against Miguel Flores.
Yeah.
Right, Miguel Flores back in Houston, Texas. And for those of you who don't know who Miguel Flores is, Miguel Flores was a 22-0 prospect. He was #1 ranked by the WBC,
Yes.
and you were a 51 underdog, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't even know the odds were that crazy. They never gave me any chance. Yeah.
And so, why don't you tell everybody kind of what happened that leading up to that fight, and the training you had for that fight, and the result of that fight.
In 2016, I connected with Marshall Kaufman again because I knew he was one of the leading promoters for Premier Boxing Championship. So I contacted him again. I said, "Hey, Marshall, I heard you promoting with PBC now, and they are one of the big promoter out there, and they have all the airtime." And Marshall was promoting in Florida, and I live in Florida, so I contacted him. He's like, "You know what? Why don't you come to one of my shows and we talk in person?" So I think that's where we met originally. So that was 2016 out in Amokale at the casino there.
Yeah.
And so Marshall's like, okay, we sit down. You sign a contract with me, and I get you to fight. So Marshall already knew I could fight. Marshall already knew I was a good fighter. I just never had the opportunity. So Marshall signed me through a 3-year contract, and he got me my first 2 fights back. I think 2016 and then 2017. And then I had a newborn. My wife was pregnant at that time. And so I said, I don't have no family members here. I need to take a break to take care of my wife.
Right.
And I have, that's my third child. No family here. I help raise my kid, change the diaper, everything. And, for me to, fighting under Marshall and no TV, they wasn't offering me good money at all. It was just basically fight to keep me busy, to build my record. So I told Marshall, if I continue to fight and because I had to drop a lot of things I'm doing to train for this fight, but I'm not making money, you know what I mean? If I'm not making money, then it's not really worth my time. Yeah. So Marshall said, okay, we're going to get you a big fight. We're going to get you a TV fight. Just be patient. So he got me the fight with Miguel Flores. And I knew that was my opportunity. He said, just keep training. We're gonna get you a fight. The notice might not be a lot because they don't want you coming in as a B side. So Marshall said, you win this fight, your life is gonna change. You're gonna become a superstar.
Right.
So that's all I thought. So I was like, okay. So who they gonna give me? Who gonna give me? So I was very motivated. So when they said Miguel Flores, I was like, man, I'm going in there to beat this kid.
Yeah.
And I went in there and upset him, and I thought my life was gonna change. Marshall said, you beat this kid, your life's gonna change. You're gonna take his ranking. You can eventually fight for a world title. So after I beat him, and I said, Marshall, you said I beat him, my life is gonna change, but nothing has changed. It's been 6 months.
Right.
I have no fight date. And Marshall said, just be patient. So I said, Marshall, if you keep telling me to be patient, I gotta feed my children, I gotta work. Why don't you just release me and I just, call boxing, BS, and so that's what I did. I just was very disappointed with boxing, so I built a restaurant. I spent 19 months build this restaurant, and Marshall eventually released me. I paid him a small fee, to release my contract, and I thought I was done with fighting. I just gonna be a restaurant owner, work in the kitchen, cook food for people.
I was at the BKFC 6, I believe it was, where Paulie Malignaggi fought Artem Lobov in Tampa.
Yes.
And I came by to see you again.
Right. Yeah.
And we came by to sit down and have dinner at your restaurant. You asked me, where were you? Where are you coming from?
Yes,
Right. Say, well, we were at the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and on the same weekend in Tampa, for the first time they ever had it in Tampa, was the BKFC event,
The first
explaining
one, yeah.
about bare knuckle, and you're like, bare knuckle. You know, like it was a new concept because it was a new thing. And I remember we had the whole conversation about that and how I think 4 fighters had broken their hands that night.
Yes.
And telling you, ooh, it's not the kind of sport you think it would be. Because I know you know how to fight in the streets, you know how to fight bare knuckle. You said you grew up without, you know, all the protection and gear. It's a different animal with BKFC.
Yeah.
Because these, especially the boxers, because they know how to follow through with their shots. That's what was hurting them. You know, I remember kept warning you, if you're going to get into that, don't break your hand.
Right, yeah.
And I know that recently, you know, soon after that point in time, you had that conversation with David Feldman, who I know you already had a history with.
Right.
You'd already known David.
Right.
And tell us a little bit about the history you had with David before that conversation.
You know, David was partnered with Marshall Kaufman when I fought in Lakeland in 2016. So I actually met David there in person, and David was co-promoting that show with Marshall. When you came in. So I once I heard about that on Fight News, you know, I'm like, wow, bare knuckle is legal. I want to be a part of it. I want to be, but how do I get a part of it? So I found out David Feldman was the one that's running it, and David, I met that guy. So I actually was friends. I added him on Facebook. I messaged him. I said, David, you know, I would love the opportunity. You know, I'm pretty sure a lot of fighters are still doing that, trying to message him, and trying to get on there.
Right.
But I'm just so happy that I got on there in the early stage.
Right.
You know, and then, like I said, after you guys came down and told me about the poly fight, I was actually I messaged him multiple times before that, you know, trying to get on it. But, you know, things just get passed until people don't get serious. You know, they don't take you seriously until you actually make the extra step. So when you guys came to the restaurant and mentioned me about poly, I was like, you know what? I need to pressure this guy. I need to pressure David to put me on. And I keep consistently messaging him. And he said, you know what? All right, let's go. If you come to Tampa, we sit down and talk. And that's what I did.
You know, I remember you were sharing that on social media as well, that the conversations that you were having with David, and that he said this and you said this, and you were showing us sort of the story kind of behind that. And it was great that, you know, when you told us that you were finally signed to BKFC and you're going to have that shot.
Yes.
And, you know, I remember, of course, being present your first fight. So now we're going to talk a little bit about BKFC here. So, you know, your first fight, you fought Travis Thompson.
Yes.
Great fighter. The animal, I believe they call him. And great fighter. He just fought and won on the same card that you just fought on as well. And, you know, he'd give you a good challenge. And I remember the first round, you were trying to figure it out. You're like, oh, this is how this goes.
Right.
I could see it in you. Like, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, the holding and hitting thing. All right.
Right.
You know, all that kind of stuff. And then eventually, I think by the second round, you figured it out. And I mean, when I say you figured it out, from that point forward, you pretty much knew exactly what you were doing nonstop until the very, very end. So that was quite amazing to see that happen. But the one thing I know I saw with you is that every time they try to clinch and they get inside with you, right? As soon as you find that little bit of a gap, and I'm not talking about a huge distance, you need just enough of that distance. You throw those looping shots, and then nobody can stop you.
Yes. See, my style is very awkward. People don't realize I'm not a conventional boxer. I grew up doing martial arts and street fighting. You know, in Hawaii, street fighting is very huge. And that's why I was able to incorporate those technique in those punches. I'm not conventional. And people are like, wow, this guy's throwing wild punches. But, you know, I practice those punches, so become a second nature to me. So it's very awkward. That's why a lot of boxers don't want to fight me because of that reason, because I'm not a conventional. If you watch me fight Miguel Flores, you see those looping punches. You know, he's not used to seeing it. You know, his coach like, yeah, he's looping all his punch. You know, all you gotta do is do this. Yeah, but, you know, until you're actually in there with me, then you see what it is, you know? Right. Yes.
Yeah, it's really something. Your head down, kind of stepping forward, those looping shots. Yeah, it's really a very unique style.
Yeah.
And it's made you very successful in what you're doing. So, you have that fight with Travis Thompson, as we mentioned. You were able to, go the distance with him and, of course, beat him on points. And then you had the fight with Abby Velasquez.
Yes.
Another great fight. Great kid, great family guy. Respect that kid a lot.
Yeah.
He came in and you guys just let each other have it.
Right.
That was just, it looked like it was really energizing you. Every time he hit you, it was just making you want to do more.
I mean, like I said, my first fight, I was sick for like 5 days with Travis Thompson. Even though he said he got short notice, but I think he was really training. He trained with Marshall Kaufman. It's a small war out there.
Yeah.
He trained with Marshall Kaufman, and I used to train with Marshall. Marshall was my promoter.
Right.
So he messaged me, Marshall's son. He messaged me, he's like, oh, your opponent is training at my gym, Travis Thompson. I was like, okay. So we all know each other here. So So I fought him. Travis is very, very tough.
Right.
And and that fight taught me a lot. So I had to rely on my boxing skill. Because I was brawling with him, but I pick and choose. I wasn't exerting a lot of energy. So because of my stamina, because I was sick for 5 days, in the hotel. And so the next fight, nobody knows that I was also a brawler. So, I was like, styles makes fight.
Right.
So if I need to brawl, I brawl. If I need to box, I can box, So in that fight, I knew Adele is very awkward, so I was brawling with him.
Right.
And for him to brawl with me, I carry a lot of power with my punches, and I was able to land a really good punch on him that he didn't see, and I won that fight 1 round.
Yeah. Right. It was really something. I mean, he was able to drop you.
Right. I don't think I was hurt in that fight. I don't think I was really dropped. More like an off balance. Like I said, I was very surprised when the referee was counting one. I was smiling because I was like, no way. I never been dropped my whole life, and all of a sudden how the hell, Because really in that fight, what happened is like before I fell, because I was trying to go for the liver shot. If I go like this, and then I guess he grabbed my head and hit me real light, and then I just fell. But I didn't really fail because of a punch. More like an off balance. Maybe he just shocked me,
right.
And plus, I didn't warm up for that fight. Like, because I was so, excited about the fight that I was walking around greeting all my friends and fans, and they said, "Hey, you got 15 minutes. You gotta fight Abby." And I'm like, "Oh, so I wrapped my hand, and then next thing I know, I finished wrapping my hand. They say, "No, it's time for walkout now." So I didn't even get a chance to warm up. So I was walking out there cold,
Right.
So yeah.
No, but the same thing. You found your rhythm once again in that fight. It didn't take you more than half a round to really figure that out.
Right.
You did drop. You got up. I mean, it was like it was nothing.
Right.
And then you ended up having one of these moments that just when they advertise BKFC,
right.
you can't help but keep seeing that little blood splatter on the camera that you created off Abby's face with that knockout punch. So you got the decision in the first fight. You got the knockout in the second fight. Now you're primed and ready. And what was the whole situation that went on between you were supposed to fight Johnny Bedford, but then I think he might have gotten injured in training, and then you were supposed to fight Reggie Barnett.
Right.
But I know that week you did get sick, and then eventually back to Johnny Bedford. Tell us the story of how that all went and why it took so long to come together.
After I fought Adele, that was February of 2019, and the pandemic hit in March. So it was a month later that the pandemic hit, so it kind of messed everything up. I was supposed to fight Johnny Bedford in May of 2019, and the pandemic hit, so there was restriction, and so we sat around idle for 8 months. I was in training, I had to help with the restaurant. I was just living my regular life. I don't know when I will be fighting again, right. And so BKFC got their first fight back during the pandemic. I think it was August or something like that of 2020, and. So I messaged David. I said, David, are you gonna give me the fight with Johnny Bedford, because I don't want another tune-up fight, because you said that if I win 2 bare knuckle fights, you was gonna give me the title fight.
Right.
And Johnny Bedford had the title. So that's the reason why I joined bare knuckle, to win the title, not to fight and build my record. I'm not into building record anymore. I'm not at an age where I fight a whole bunch of bums, some of those young guys are doing right now in bare knuckle. They can have more wins than me. Look at, but they really fought nobody. I want to fight the toughest guy possible that's going to motivate me.
Right.
So when they put Johnny Bedford for me and him was supposed to fight was at November, and Johnny hurt his back, and I was excited to fight Johnny because that's all I want.
Right.
And because he has the belt. So I trained. I like what I said, when it's time for me to fight, I have to put everything aside.
Right.
I have to stop what I'm doing. I have to, focus on training and wake up and run and train. And as a fighter, that's what you need to do, because you cannot just go work 9 to 5 and all of a sudden you're going to be a fighter now. It's impossible.
Right.
That's why fighters don't succeed. It's very rare that a fighter succeed because of that. So my wife, she knows that I have a big fight coming up. She focused on doing everything, taking over my job, and so I can just focus on my training. And so I trained for Johnny Bedford, but Johnny Bedford hurt his back, and David said, "Look, Johnny hurt his back. We have to we have to put somebody in. We're gonna put Reggie in. Are you gonna okay? I said, my wife's like, no, we don't want to fight Reggie. That's a waste of time. You know, we want to fight the champion. Reggie is not a champion. He already lost Johnny Bedford. So beating him don't prove nothing.
Right.
But I said, you know what? Since I already been training, and he been talking a lot of trash, I want to shut him up. You know, I'm gonna shut him up. And so I was ready to fight him. I was ready to fight him on November. I was all excited because I know I was gonna go in there to hurt him. And then I got sick. You know, the last 10 days of the fight, my last sparring session, I was so excited. I was in great shape. I was sparring big guys, and I got a runny nose. You know, and I came back to the restaurant. My wife was like, "You okay? How you feeling?" I was like, "Yeah, I just runny nose, no big deal." You know. So we went to 7-Eleven. We got some zinc tablet, and my wife was very worried for me. You know, so I took zinc tablet for 2-3 days, not getting better. You know, so I was just sitting in my bed. So I didn't want to tell David Feldman yet. You know, I was selling tickets. A lot of people bought tickets to watch me fight, and I was like, you know what? Maybe it will go away in 3-4 days. A week, like 5 days later. No, I'm still feeling weak. I'm not even training, not running, because I wanted to rest my body.
Right.
So that way it can heal. Because if you sick and you training, you're just making it worse. So I just sat, did nothing for 4-5 days. I didn't get better. So I called David up. I said, David, I don't know. I'm catching a cold right now. I don't know if I can be able to fight. You know, the fight is 5 days away.
Right.
And I don't know what. So David said, well, hopefully you get better. Hopefully you get better and let me know by Wednesday. So Wednesday came and the fight was on Saturday. Wednesday came. I was like, man, I'm still feeling like shit. I think I got COVID. You know, I thought I had COVID.
Yeah.
So David's like, you know what? Go get tested. So I went to the clinic, got a rapid test, negative for COVID, but positive for viral flu.
Oh, okay.
And then so I was like, I got a antibacterial infection. You know, so bam, I called my doctor. He gave me antibiotic. You know.
Okay.
I took it 2 days later. I was feeling well. So I said, David, don't cancel the fight yet. I might fight because I'm feeling better now. So that was by Friday. Friday came, right? Saturday was the fight. Friday came. I was like, yeah, I'm recovering right now. My wife's like, no, you shouldn't fight because you haven't been training for 10 days and you about 10 pounds, you know,
You
over
make the weight that day.
you know what I mean? You gotta lose all this weight within 1.5 days. And, you know, even though you're feeling better, you know, you're not 100%. But David's like, look, you don't have to be 100% to beat Reggie. Reggie's, you know, I already know that. I don't have to be 100% to beat Reggie. So basically, I go in there to beat him and you know, get a win and get a good purse. So, but you know, my wife and my mom's like, no, you're not fighting. So, you know, so I had to make a difficult decision there, and a lot of my fans were very upset because they bought tickets already. So David is like, okay, all right, we're gonna move on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's what happened with that. And then, like you said, you know, you finally got the date set, and it went back to Johnny Bedford once again. Now that Johnny was healthy, and now that, you know, you were healthy, it was kind of, it's a collision course waiting to finally happen. So I know that throughout the process, Reggie Barnett felt slighted because he thought he'd have the opportunity to fight you, and said you got to step over him and go right to the title shot.
Right.
So let's talk about that. I mean, here you were, fight night. You finally got the opportunity to fight Johnny. You know, what was going through your mind as you knew you were about to step in and fight for this Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship belt? You
know, like I said, I gotta thank David for you know, living up to his promise. You know, we sat down about 18 months ago, and he said, we're gonna give you Johnny Bedford since he has the belt, and that's you know, we don't know if you're gonna win or not. Johnny is very tough. He's a champion. He's a good champion. He's undefeated. We don't know if you're gonna win, you know, but we're gonna give you the opportunity.
Right.
And I was very excited about that. And like I said, I know that was my moment. So I didn't have a trainer. You know, I said, you know, I'm gonna prepare myself to the best I could. I ran, I focused mentally and physically, and I bring myself to the best shape possible. And then we went in there, and I knew Johnny was gonna be tough. You know, we play a lot of, I play a lot of mind games with him. You know, all that talking. That's just to let him know what kind of fighter I was. So I think, you know, it was a lot of mind game when you go into fighting. So I think Johnny Bedford knew that he was in for a tough fight with me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to let him know that before the fight.
So there you were. I mean, you finally got the opportunity. Now you're in the ring. It was a great fight. I mean, tell me kind of the motions of what went through that 5-round fight.
Right. Like I said, once the bell ring, like I said, I set my mind to it. I like, look, the way to beat Johnny Bedford is to fight him, not box him. That's what Reggie did. I mean, I could choose to box him, and make the fight a little bit easier. But, I'm the type of fighter that comes to fight. If a fighter is going to bully me, I never been bullied my whole entire life for fighting, boxing or any kind of martial arts. I'm always there in front of my opponent. I never run. So when I was in front of Johnny didn't know how to deal with that. So I know to beat him, it was to be in front of him and force him to fight. And that's my style.
Right.
That's for me to box him, even though I know how to do it really well, it's not my style.
Right.
That's why the fans loves me. They know I always come to fight and I'm going to do what I'm going to say to do. And that's why a lot of fighters in boxing don't want to fight me for that same reason, because they know they're going to come in to fight a tough fight that's not going to go nowhere. He's going to die in there, So when I fought Johnny, he felt my power and he realized that I could hit really hard.
Right.
And I was in there. I was going to take a shot for shot with him. And he knew he was in for a fight. But in that fight, I knew I was winning every single round. He played a little dirty, at some point holding my head and choking me. So he upset me a little bit, but I knew he was going to get tired by doing that.
Right.
For him to push me back. He's not winning. The thing about fighting is you got to punch somebody to win, not wrestle them, not choking them. You don't win fights doing that. So I knew he could do all that. He just tied himself up. He's just making himself look bad. I just make sure when he's doing that, I just remain composed and keep my hands up and don't get hit with those crazy shots he's throwing.
So at any point, did you feel like he had power?
No, I mean, I knew that he could hit, but not anything that scares me. I've been hit harder than that. I spar heavyweights, in my gym.
Right.
And those guys, 200-something pounds, they come with a full force of punch. Those force of punches are a lot harder. But like I said, with the bare knuckle punches, the punch that hurt you are the ones that you don't see. But like I said, Johnny is very awkward. He throws his punch very looping. So I had to prepare myself mentally to be able to see those punches coming, And so that's why I didn't throw a lot of punch like with Adele. With Adele, I put more risks out there. I threw more punches, But with Bedford, I was right there. Even though I threw those punches, I always knew exactly where the placement was without, yeah.
All right. So, I mean, after 13 or so long years of professional boxing, and then a couple of years, of course, into BKFC, you finally got the opportunity to raise your hand in victory and be world champion. Mm-hmm. So tell us what you were feeling at that moment once you were able to hold up the belt.
I mean, it's a dream come true. You know what I mean? It's been such a long journey. I dreamt of this when I first started, combat sports boxing. Now I'm called world champion, and I got so many friends and family congratulating me and, show me the respect, that, but, like I said, they always knew that I had a heart of a champion. Now that it just came true that I actually holding the belt, So I know a lot of fighters out there are gunning for me. But, until they step into the ring with me, they're going to know what kind of fighter I am. Now that I get the belt, I'm more hungry than ever to keep it and maintain and make a legacy for myself. I'm more motivated than ever, to train now.
Right.
Because I know the opportunity is there. Because once you're the champion, the opportunity is always there for you.
Right.
When you are trying to fight the champion, who's going to give you the opportunity? Now I'm holding the belt. Everybody's gunning for me. So
they gotta come to you.
The opportunity is already here,
So here you are, and you got this beautiful looking medallion around your neck. You've got the Police Gazette Diamond Belt. This thing goes back to the days of, as it says right here, the spirit of John L. Sullivan.
Yeah.
We're talking about in the turn of the 20th century. I mean, way back, 1899 turning into 1900.
1881, that's when they first sanctioned this belt. So it has 139 years of history. That's why I'm so honored to even win this belt. There's only a dozen of people holding this belt right now in the history since 139 years. And then the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship belt, this company that is created by David Feldman, this is going to be huge within the next couple of years. That's why Shaq already jumped on to invest This is a multi-billion-dollar company, and it's real fighting. The fans are gonna tune in and love this new sports.
Yeah, I got to see Shaq there handing you the belt. That was a nice little surprise.
Yes,
To see him come out there and do that. And absolutely, I mean, BKFC is definitely the fastest growing promotion within bare knuckle, and bare knuckle probably the fastest growing combat sport there is today. It is going to continue to grow, and I know those bigger names are going to continue to come in too. So you hold on to your belt. I'm sure you're going to have people facing you didn't think would even be in BKFC at some point. And so now thinking ahead from that, so I mean, what's the plan next?
Right.
Is David talking about potentially putting you back in with a rematch for Johnny, or is Reggie Barnett on the grid, or are you looking for somebody else?
See, I don't mind fighting Johnny again. I want to give him another opportunity because I could see that he was very determined to win. But as far as skill-wise, I would beat him a lot easier in the rematch. Like I said, the first fight we just fought, I looked for the knockout too much. When you look for the knockout, you don't get it. So the next fight is going to be easier for me. So, whatever the fans said, I'm going to beat him a lot easier, more convincingly. I might even knock him out. With Reggie is an easier fight for me. I would knock him out because he's a boxer and he don't know how to brawl. And I would knock him out. He don't have a chin either. Johnny Bedford knocked him down 3 times. Yeah. So my plan is to move up to 145. My ultimate goal is to fight Joey Beltran eventually, because I think I have the skill to go up to the heavyweight, because I'm very elusive if I need to be. I can box, I can move, I can brawl, I can do everything. So that's why I want to display my skill and I want to show the fans. So, eventually that's my ultimate goal. But right now my short-term goal is to move up to 145 and win the belt at 145. And I talked to David the other day, so David said okay. So I don't know he's gonna match me up with who that 145 pounder is, but maybe there's gonna be a 4-man tournament. If Johnny Bedford wants to move up to 145, maybe me and Adam Labov can fight each other, and then Johnny Bedford can fight Jason Knight. The winner of those two can fight for the 145-pound belt. So if Johnny wins against Jason Knight and I beat Adam Labov, we can fight for the 145-pound title. Right. That's the plan. But the ultimate plan is to call out Conor McGregor after I knock out Adam Labov.
There you go.
See, that was the plan 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was 2 years ago when Adam Labov beat Paulie Malignaggi. Yeah. So if I go in there and knock out Adam Labov,
there's the opportunity right there. So what would happen if you have to fight your next fight at 145? Does that mean you have to give up your belt at that point? Or can you still come back down and fight at 135 after that 145 fight?
Like I said, I don't know what the plan is, but I would like to hold on to as many belts as I can. You know what I mean? 135 is no problem for me to make. I walk around 145, so I don't have to cut no weight. You know what I mean? Right now, if somebody really, there's no number one contender. At 135. If Red, you think he's the number one contender, he beat all the guy that I already beat. I beat the guy that beat him. Yeah. So he needs to go and deal with all those other up-and-coming guys. You know what I mean? I don't think he deserves a shot yet. He already lost to Johnny Bedford. If he really wants to get a shot at 135, he needs to beat Johnny Bedford, which is I already beat him. If he can beat Johnny Bedford, then maybe I consider giving him an opportunity. But I already know in my mind I beat his easily.
Yeah, but
knock him out. Just to shut him up.
Yeah, of course. I mean, so realistically though, because you have to obviously defend the belt to prove that it is your belt, to show that it's your belt. Right. So if it happened to be Reggie that came around, you had to fight one more 135 before stepping up to the 145 tournament. If it was Reggie, so be it. Is what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
And at that point, it's a knockout. It's not even going the distance.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just like I said, I would like to fight Johnny Bedford again because I think that's what the fans want to see. So, but I think if we can create a tournament at 145 where Johnny don't have to struggle to make 135 because he's a big 135 pounder. And I think he really struggled. He struggled really hard to make that 135. Yeah. So if he moves up 145, he's stronger. Then, like I said, I'm getting better and better every day in bare knuckle. Yeah. If I'm motivated, I train every day. Yeah. Yes. But yes.
So at that point, I mean, you're talking about moving up though as far as heavyweight to try to take on Beltran, the champion there. Right. You don't think the size, the weight, anything would really be too much of a factor against you?
In bare knuckle, my punch is gonna be just as hard as them. It's all about in the mind. Do you afraid to hit them? Like I say, in a real fight, if you have no fear and you could see what's coming, you could do a lot of things, and you gotta overcome that. And I already overcome that, and that's my ultimate goal. To fight those heavy old guys because they are the one that motivate and push me. Because they're the one that drives me to be better. If I fight a guy that I know I can beat, it doesn't force me. I don't work hard enough. Right.
Well, that's great. I mean, obviously, a lot of congratulations to everything that you've won, everything that you've accomplished, both with your professional boxing career, and now, of course, with bare knuckle fighting as well.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to seeing what the next move will be.
Yes.
You know, you got a big fan base out there. They've been basically pounding down the door to try to get you to come back out there and join that party. So we won't keep you any longer. We just want to say congratulations, and you know, if you want to go ahead and tell your fans, because I know you got a lot more of them now.
Right.
Tell them exactly how they can follow you on social media.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening to my chat here with Michael. You guys could follow me on Instagram at DatBdat or at Facebook DatBdat. Okay, you can put at DatBdat and you will find me on Facebook or Instagram and as well on Twitter. But thank you so much, Michael from the Fighting News and the cameraman there. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Thank you. Awesome.
All right. Thank you. Congratulations once again.
Thank you,
Take
brother.
care.
Thank you. Yes.